Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Trina. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about my TBR for the month of November 2025. So the year is almost over and I noticed reviewing my prompts for Her Kid or the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. I do have one specific category in the whole Her Kid board that I have not read a single book from. So for the month of November, I planned out what books I'm going to be reading for that specific category. And it is actually one of the hardest, I believe, prompts or challenges in the Her Kid bingo board. And I think I am ready to tackle it. If not now, then when, right? So for this month, I'm actually going to tackle the whole quote cell of the Her Kid bingo board. Here in my November TBR, I have prepared all of the books that I have for the specific quote that I chose. I chose this myself. Like, you can choose as long or as short a quote as you want. And I guess this is partially, I have myself to blame for this because I chose a very long quote. So in this quote prompt, I guess, you are to read one book for every word that is in that quote. And I guess you can do away with duplicates. That's why I have here duplicate. So I did not put a book for that. You can, but you're going to be very sad about that if you're going to do that as well. I had a very hard time looking for books that I actually am interested in reading for each of the word in the quote. So the quote that I chose actually is, "Sometimes where you feel most safe is where you least belong." This is from Elif Shafak's 10 minutes 38 seconds in the Strange World. It is my favorite book of 2024, and as you can tell, it is also one of my favorite quotes. So I chose this thinking that there are a lot of books that I could pick up that have these words in the title of the books. Turns out there's not much. So I'm going to go through all of these, talk about the books that I've chosen. Some of them I have really no choice for because there's only like one or two that I'm interested. And one of them I actually am iffy about if I want to read it or not, but it's like the only book so far that I have found that has that word in it. But if you have a book recommendation for a specific word that you think is better for my taste in reading for a specific word here, do leave them down in the comments because I'm iffy about some of these choices. So let's get right into it. For the word sometimes, I chose Sometimes I Lie by Alice Finney. This is a psychological thriller. Our main character, Amber Reynolds, woke up from her coma and she couldn't move or speak, but she could still hear, and she suspects that her husband has something to do with her situation. So I guess this is like a domestic thriller. Again, I am not necessarily one for the domestic thrillers, but it's an easy enough read for me. It's fine. And she also mentioned here that she admits that sometimes she lie, and more or less this might be an unreliable narrator situation. Somehow I do have like unreliable narrators are hit or miss for me, especially in a psychological thriller, but it's very much a very cliche setup. So I'm fine with it. I'm just going to power through it whether or not I like it. The next word is Where, so I chose Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This is a mystery. Kia Clark, aka the March Girl, becomes a suspect to this murder of a popular young man from the town. So get from the synopsis is that Kia, I don't know how to pronounce this, she's considered the Marsh Girl. She lives at the marsh near the town, and these two boys from the town is actually like getting close to her, I guess, and then one of them mysteriously got his body is found, or like maybe I don't know if the term was he got murdered or his body was found, and then the people in the town suspects Kia, basically. I actually kind of regret now that I did not purchase this during my 500 peso book buy challenge for my birthday, because I saw this book and it was in a pretty good condition too. However, I prioritized something else than Where the Crawdads Sing. Now I have it in my TBR for the month and I'm going to look for it again. Hopefully it's still there. I don't think it's there anymore, if I'm being honest, but who knows, I might find it again. The next one here is the word You. So I have Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, or Celeste Ng. Celeste Ng I really love her Little Fires Everywhere book, and this is another literary fiction mystery, very hit and miss, hit or miss. I am very much hit or miss with literary fiction, especially when there's like domestic stuff related. But if it's less ing, I will read it. So Lydia is a daughter of a Chinese immigrant parents, and she was pressured to perform well, of course, as most, I guess, Chinese, very much ingrained in our culture to do our very best and pressure children to perform at their most, like over their capacity, I guess, pressuring them. Her body was then found one day that upended everything in the lives of her family. Her mother will do anything to find who is to blame. Brother Nathan suspects that the local bad boy has something to do with this, but younger sister Hannah may be the only one who knows what really happened. So maybe because they all focus on the golden child, the golden older sister, they do not give much attention to this younger sibling of theirs who happens to know stuff and is like always one that's observing because no one is paying attention to her, so she observes everything. So yeah, could be a good read. My initial prediction for this is probably because older sister Lydia is being pressured, that she starts to become like very sneaky and does something that the parents might disapprove of, and Hannah knows something about that, and that might be something that led to her death. And the parents, of course, doesn't know that, because if they knew, they wouldn't allow Lydia to do that thing, you know, typical, I guess. The next one is the word feel. So How Does It Feel by Janine O'Reilly. This is the first book in the Infatuated Faye series, and this is the one that I am iffy about. This is basically, the long and short of it is that human went out mushroom hunting and entered probably a fairy circle. What do you call that? Like the circle of mushrooms that is the gate to the fairy world. And then she meets the unseelie prince of the realm, and she has to go through these trials, or else the fairy prince will kill her. However, the fairy prince is obsessed with her, something like that. So if she does not complete the trials, then I guess the fairy prince thinks that he will be rid of this one weakness of his. However, he also doesn't want her to fail. So like, I'm so iffy about this, but this is the only book that I have found that has this word that is not a 100% a smut book. But I don't know if this is also one. It is a romantasy anyway. So we'll see. And then the next word is most. So I chose Murder Most Unladylike by Robin Stevens. This is the first book in the Murder Most Unladylike series. So these are like schoolgirl detectives, Daisy Wells and Hazel Wong. And I think it's in a kind of like a British boarding school, I think. And there is like a murder that happened in their, that made their boring life in their school much more exciting. And these two quirky schoolgirls do the amateur sleuthing and the detective work, and I think that's pretty fun. I really am enjoying that premise of like younger kids being detectives in a way. The next one here is Safe. You Will Be Safe Here by Damian Barr. This is a historical two-timeline storyline in South Africa. So in the 1901, the height of the Second Boer War, where a mother sent his son to a concentration camp. I guess it's a British concentration camp. Promised that he will be safe there. And then in 2010, another mother sends her son to a training camp that promises to make men out of boys, and that he will be safe there. So we, as a society now, I hope, know what goes on inside a concentration camp or a training camp for boys. Some of them are luckier than others, wherein it's very much like they have better treatments, but sometimes, or most of the time, I guess, it's so unfortunate, and the parents sometimes don't know, or maybe they know, but are turning a blind eye to it in the hopes that their kids become more mature faster, and that's very much unfortunate. So I'm thinking that this is very much an unfortunate, very, I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to read that. I'm very much into historical fiction that is during wartime. I do read a lot of those. The next word here is the word is. A Woman is No Man by, is it Etaf or Etaf? Wrong. The main character's family are Palestinian immigrants. Daya is 18 and is meeting suitors for marriage. Her mother underwent the same setup, and her parents died in a car accident, or so she believes. So the grandmother specifically wants Daya to find a suitor and to be wed. However, Daya doesn't want that, and she knows that her mother underwent the same thing. She received a secret note from a mysterious woman that made her like look for her family history and learn more about what happened to her parents. The next one here is the word least. So I chose The Least of My Scars by Stephen Graham Jones, and I'm kind of afraid of this because the first Stephen Graham Jones that I've read I did not enjoy, which is The Night of the Mannequins. Like, I did not enjoy it that much. So The Least of My Scars, I also do not understand the synopsis of this. It sounds interesting. It's like, I don't know if this main character has like a psychological illness, mental illness, I guess. But there's something to do with like people going into his room or his house, and they are like the victims. Like the victims are drawn to him, something like that. I'm not sure. So we'll see. It's kind of like the mystery of it kind of excites me to read it, but of course I'm not sure because the first go of mine of Stephen Graham Jones I did not particularly enjoy. And the last one here, we're finally the last one, word is Belong, and You Belong Here by Megan Miranda. This sounds so similar actually to Society of Lies, if I'm being honest. So the premise of it is that Beckett, the mother, went to Wyatt College in Wyatt Village, I guess. Her parents taught there, so she knew that she's going there. It all went well until the death of two local men, and Beckett's roommate was on the run. So she might be, I don't know, a witness or one that knows about the murders. So she also moved out and ran away from her past until her daughter Delilah secretly applies for Wyatt College and was granted full scholarship. So in a way, she's running from her past, but also her child wants to go there for college, maybe because she knows that her grandparents are teachers there, her mother went there, so she wants to go there as well. So in a way, this reminds me so much of Society of Lies, wherein the older sister joined a sorority there, and the younger sister also went because the older sister went there, something like that. So yeah, those are the books for the main TBR. I did put here Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil and The Dark Vault, both by V. Schwab in here, because I have not started these books at all. I wanted to read them, probably, hopefully, before the year ends. But yeah, I'm putting it there. I'm so hopeful to finish reading at least one of them. Hopefully, Bury Your Bones, or Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, because that is still pretty much in season, in theme, and yeah, I hope I could get to them. So yeah, those are all of the books that I have for the November TBR. I hope in my whole heart that I'm able to at least read majority of it. So these are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 books in the whole quote. I am hoping to at least knock out 5 of them for the month of November. That is my hope of hope. It's very difficult. This is why it's called the hardest reading challenge, because it is quite difficult. So yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, guys, take care and bye-bye.